I'm Jean Aspen, and I've spent a third of my life in remote wilderness, which is where I am right now, in the Brooks Range of Alaska, with my husband, Tom Irons. My mother once said I must have been imprinted early on the Arctic. Certainly, it formed a basis for the rest of my life. When I returned as a young adult, it was incredibly familiar to me. My parents spent 12 years traveling by dog sled, on foot, in canoe, adventuring. My mother wrote 7 books. They filmed early documentaries. They were young people off on an adventure. By the time I was born, they were pretty well known. My mother's books had been on the New York Times bestsellers list, and they were doing lecture tours throughout the United States with their 2 documentaries. I've sometimes thought I was born as a photo prop for a documentary that my parents filmed, Genie of Alaska. It set a foundation for the rest of my life. My mother and father divorced when I was still quite young. I was 3. My sister was 18 months old when my mother took us to her mother in Tucson, Arizona. We lived in obscurity and poverty. It was definitely a letdown for my mother, who had been well known and who had lived an adventurous life. When I was 14, my mother put together an expedition. She got her publisher, Little Brown and Company, to front her $7,000, and we drove to Canada and put into the Peace River in a canoe that she had specially ordered. It was 20 feet long, and it was made of wood with canvas on the outside. It was quite heavy, I think over 200 pounds, and very stable. We set off during the biggest flood in 30 years. An amazing and audacious undertaking for a woman and her 2 children who had not ever seen anything like a big river before. It was my first real wild experience since my early childhood, and it gave me an opportunity to try myself in ways that I wouldn't have anticipated. It was not an easy journey. I was 22 when I started back into this country for an adventure of my own with my fiancé, Phil Beisel, who had been my friend since I was 15. It was early June. The sun was going round and round and hardly setting, and we spent the day trying to put our outfit together. And a few people came down from the small town to look at us and comment. By the time we got our canoe loaded, it was night, which in that part of the world and that time of year means that the sun was down below the horizon but still lighting the sky. We were young, and we were off to sink or swim, quite literally, on the Yukon.